From the lively fish markets of Busan to the cozy family kitchens of Seoul, the famous Korean seafood pancake, also known as Haemul Pajeon, has been bringing smiles to faces for generations. So I first discovered this dish at a casual barbecue in Perth with Korean friends who are also chefs. And amongst all the delicious Korean dishes out there on display, from kimchi to sizzling meats, it was this dish that stood out for me. This is a tasty street food tour through Asia where I'll be cooking some of the best street eats for my new cookbook. This is a book about street food. Our next stop is Korea for crispy seafood pancakes. Imagine crispy edges with a soft, savory center filled with fragrant spring onion, really tasty seafood, paired with a dipping sauce that makes everything so much better than it already is. So I'm going to break this down into two parts, the pancake and the dipping sauce. So let's get started. So the beauty of this dish is that it's easy and really quick to put together. So I need to prep everything, get that ready, get my pan on the heat, and we're just going to cook it in one go. So our first step is to make that super crispy pancake batter. And for that, I've got plain flour to bring it together, and cornstarch, which is quite light and will give that crispiness to the batter, and also cold soda water. The cold soda water is bubbly, so it's going to have a nice, light, fluffy effect. But also when it hits a hot pan, that contrast between the hot and cold temperature will create a really crispy pancake. So the plain flour goes in, cornstarch as well. Okay, and then the cold soda water. We're just going to whisk that at the same time to make sure there's no lumps. If you had beer battered fish before, it's very similar to making a beer batter, except we're using soda water for that carbonated effect. All right, the batter is coming together. To season it, we're going to add in some fish sauce because it's such a rich and strong flavor. We're not adding salt in, so we're going to use fish sauce to season. Goes straight in, give that a mix. There you go, you can see that's nice and smooth, no lumps. Alright, so the batter's ready. We're going to add in some spring onion. And what I like to do is basically chop the spring onion into 4 or 5 centimeter lengths. We're just going to chop the roots off and just clean them up a little bit. And just peeling off any of the excess skin on the outside. There we go. We give that a quick rinse. We're going to chop these into about 4 to 5 centimeter lengths. Cool. We're going to add some of that to our batter. We give that a mix. That looks good. So the batter's ready to go and we get the rest of the ingredients ready. I have some fresh seafood here, some prawns. We also have some clam meat, or you could use mussels instead. I also have some squid here. So any mix of seafood will do. I kind of like to have a medley or surprise of different seafoods in there for different tastes and textures. We also are going to beat a couple of eggs to go onto our pancake. So I'm just going to add that to this bowl and quickly beat them. One more. So I'm beating the egg and we have everything ready to go. I'm going to put my non-stick pan on a medium to high heat. And into my pan, I'm going to add in some neutral oil. So that just means one with no flavor. So anything like rice bran, canola, peanut, grapeseed, nothing that will add a contrasting flavor to this dish. So don't be afraid to use a little more than you usually would here. We want the edges to crisp up and get nice and crunchy. We're going to wait for that to heat up and we'll get our batter ready to go. Okay, the oil is nice and hot. We're going to add some of that batter in along with the spring onion, making sure to spread it evenly amongst the pan. There we go. That looks good. So it might look like a lot of spring onion in there, but don't be scared. It's going to cook down and that's where all the flavor is. So whilst the edges are starting to crisp up, I'm going to get some of my seafood ready because we're going to place it on top on the wet parts of the batter so it sticks. So I'm spreading out the different types of seafood I'm using so that everyone can have a taste of each of them in each bite they have. Yum, looks good. Some squid. So you can see it's starting to crisp up around the edges. You can smell that spring onion coming through and the fish sauce, which has flavored the batter and giving it heaps of seasoning. And I'm going to let that cook for a couple more minutes. give it a sec. Let's just check the edges. So you can see the pancake is holding quite nicely as I am spinning it around to test out the edges. And what I love so much about this dish is that you can see it's packed with so much texture and flavor. It's not just your normal pancake, and when it goes onto the table later on, everyone will get a huge explosion of flavor with every bite. So as it's starting to cook now, you can see it's browning around the edges. We're gonna pour on some of that beaten egg just on the top to make sure that all combines and sticks together. And as you can see there, it's just added an extra layer of richness and color. And as it starts to crisp up around the edges, we're gonna flip that shortly. So let's just double check that the bottom is crispy. That looks good, doesn't it? Check that out. The golden crunchy base, that is ready to flip. Okay, so here is my tip on flipping the pancake. It is quite big and looks overwhelming, but if you place a plate on top, just like so, we can invert this. So we're holding the plate on, and I'm very carefully bringing the pan off. There's gonna be a bit of oil in there, so I might just do this over the sink, just to be careful. How good does that look? Nice and crispy and crunchy on the bottom. So now we're gonna carefully slide that back onto the pan so the bottom can cook through. On one side, the pancake is pretty much 2/3 of the way cooked through, so it's not gonna need as long on the second side. So we're just making sure to double check, and we don't want to overcook the seafood either. It's quite big. I mean, that's what's great about this dish, is that the pancake is so big that it's great for sharing. And if you want to eat it by yourself, I mean, go for it. It can be a meal in itself as well. I think that is ready to go. I'm going to carefully invert it again because I want to slide it back onto the board with the seafood side up. So again, placing the plate onto the bottom of the pancake, I'm going to invert it over the sink again, just being careful with any oil that might spit. There we go. Ooh, how good does that look? Okay, I'm gonna slide that onto my chopping board. Okay, so before I slice up the pancake and get into it, I'm gonna make a very quick, vinegary, spicy dipping sauce to go with it that's gonna make it so much tastier. So for that, I have some light soy sauce for saltiness. We have some rice vinegar for a nice fragrance, a little bit of acidity. It's not too harsh. A bit of grated garlic, just to add an extra layer of flavor. Some gochugaru or Korean chili flakes for a bit of spice. Normal chili flakes are just fine as well. Give that a mix. And then finally, we're gonna add in some finely chopped onion. Any onion is fine, red, white, brown onion, the white part of the spring onion. I just have this onion here, which I'm gonna slice finely. Okay, I'm peeling the skin off. We're just gonna dice that and add that to the sauce. So I'm slicing sideways and then down for a dice. So the onion's just gonna add a bit of texture, but also cut through, and the natural sweetness is gonna add to that saltiness of the soy sauce and the sourness of the vinegar. Okay, we're gonna add that in, give that a quick mix. Okay, let's plate up. So I'm gonna slice up the pancake, I'm gonna transfer it to my serving dish, and we're gonna dig in and get straight into it. So I like to slice it into smaller squares so that you can get a little bit of everything in each bite. So I'm just slicing down, across, actually, I might just leave it on the board. I think we could eat that straight from the board. Let's forget about the dish. It's the best part about this. And there you go, my crispy Korean seafood pancake. All right, shall we dig in? Let's dunk that straight into the sauce. A big piece. What I love about Korean seafood pancakes is that contrast of the crispy exterior, the soft savory center, all those little surprises of fresh seafood in there, and the fragrant spring onion that cuts through all that richness and makes it super tasty and irresistible. It's the kind of dish that's perfect for sharing, but also kind of tempting to keep all to yourself. You can find this recipe in my new street food cookbook that's out now, Grab your copy with the link in the description. Next week, we'll be heading to Malaysia, so subscribe to find out what iconic street food we'll be making next. Korean dishes on the spread. Okay. Think. All right, I'm going to dip that. Oh, sorry to you.